From the headquarters of the Guild of Champions, this is the Chris Terrell Podcast, and I am your host, Chris Terrell. And welcome to another week of your weight loss quest. How did this last week go for you, champion? What new challenges did you encounter? But more importantly, what failure did you go through, and what lesson did you get from that failure? Come on now, don't let a perfectly good failure go by without you getting your lesson. That's your reward for your troubles. Now, if you're new here, I've lost 125 pounds myself after an entire adulthood of chronic yo-yo dieting. Up, down again. Then I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I made some permanent, meaningful, and actual changes to my lifestyle, habits, routines, environment, and to my community and systems of belief, because it's all of those things that create me and the results of my life. And if I want to get new results in my life, I'm going to need to change those 6 things too. And I'm here each week to help you get the same kinds of results in your life. Now, this time of year, I know there are many of you that are looking to get started on your weight loss journey, or you are perhaps looking to level it up. Perhaps somebody has said, hey, I lost weight, and I used this Chris Terrell guy, told me some tips and tricks and helped me out. And maybe you're thinking you'd like to try some of that yourself. I'd like this episode to be a guide for you. Something to help you get started on your journey if you're just starting from nothing. Maybe you've been listening to the podcast for a while. You've been thinking you really got to get to working on this, but you're not really sure what to do. You've been maybe tweaking your food. You're trying to go on walks. You're doing things. You know you're doing things, but you know the extra weight is still here. Let's talk to you. What would we do to get you started? Or maybe you're just at ground zero, right? You're not really doing anything. You just know that you're really not happy with the results that you're currently getting, and you want to make some changes. Let's let this episode be the guide for you. I'm going to walk you through the 5 steps of using calories of using tracking calories to lose weight. And these 5 steps are going to be really easy. We're just going to sit and have a conversation, right? Just you and me, you listening. And look, some of you may already know this. Hey, listen up, because, you know, if you've lost a bunch of weight, people are going to ask tips on how to lose weight, and you may want to relay some of this to them. So you're welcome to share this episode or use it yourself. You know, take the information and relay it to help. Because honestly, all I want to do is see as many people lose weight as possible. So first thing is there's going to come a point in today's podcast where I'm going to invite you to go to my website to see a video. Because there is one part of what I want to go through today that doing it via talking isn't the most effective. Like, it's going to be really helpful if I walk you through it on a video. So I'll make reference to that later in the episode. You'll know when it's coming. And I'm going to have a link to that video in the show notes, and I'll describe to you how to get to it. But this video is going to be helpful. So just know going into this, if you're like, ooh, this is the episode for me, I would very much like to learn how to start using calorie tracking to lose some weight. And you're going to want to watch this video, so just be alert, heads up, that's coming. So I want to invite you to come join my free Facebook group. If you're not a member of that, you can head on over to christerrellcoaching.com. You'll find a link where you can join the Facebook group there, as well as there's a link in the show notes. I also go live on YouTube every Monday morning. So if you want to catch the YouTube lives to kick off your weight loss week, head on over to Chris Terrell Coaching at youtube.com, and you'll and subscribe to my channel, and you'll be notified every time I go live. And I'd love to have you come there. We take weight loss questions, celebrate victories. It's the Monday lives are turning into a really fun thing. I really enjoy them. All right. Oh, and last thing, the guild doors are open right now. So if you've been thinking about joining the guild, now is the time to do it. You can head on over to theguildofchampions.com to learn more about that. Let's jump into the information here. First thing, this is not step 1. This is step 0. We got to have your head in the right space. All right. So a couple things we just need to get out of the way. First, this process is going to take 2 to 6 weeks. All right. So you just need to wrap your head around the fact that dialing this in is going to take 2 to 6 weeks. I don't know where in 2 to 6 weeks the process will work, but it might take you up to 6 weeks. It might work as fast as 2. There's no way to know other than just to get into it. So in my mind, for you, I would recommend just in your head, set aside that like, hey, you're going to be dialing this in for about 6 weeks. All right. Just figure out your numbers. No biggie. All right. So first thing you need to do is you need to determine your maintenance calories. You need to determine your maintenance calories. Let's explain what that is. Actually, let's explain what a calorie is. A calorie is a unit of measure that describes how much energy, potential energy, is in the food that you eat. Now, that energy, there's different kinds. Your body has to do different things to gain access to that energy. So all food that you eat gets converted into energy that you then use to power your body. Some things, like let's say a teaspoon of sugar, that energy, your body doesn't really have to do much to get access to it. It pretty much can just absorb it directly into the intestines, into the wall of the intestines. It doesn't really have to break it down. It is essentially ready to go fuel, right? It is fully processed gasoline, you could think. Then you might have some other foods, like let's say a fruit, right? Like an orange. It also has this ready to go fuel, but it also has fiber. You know, that pulpy stuff? Like that stuff, I literally want you to think of it like it clogs the works. It clogs up your intestines. It slows down digestion. It makes it where your body literally can't get to the food that's in the intestines, and so it's digested slower. So 5 carbs with fiber and 5 carbs without fiber is still 5 carbs. The difference is one of them your body gets immediately. The other one is delayed over time, right? So your body is breaking it down. It's not fully processed gasoline. It's oil that needs a few more steps, we could say. All right, so this is just an example. Protein. Your body doesn't run off of protein. Your body runs off of glucose, and it can run off of some other things. Your body actually uses protein by breaking it down into amino acids, and think of it like building blocks. It's the building blocks that comprises your body, and your body needs it, okay? But now you don't need to remember all this. I just wanted to explain some of this to show you that there's different kinds of foods and there's different energies, and your body processes them all differently. And it can be remarkably tempting to dive into that world and try to figure out what are the best kinds of foods to eat, what are the wrong kinds of foods to eat, what's the healthy kind, which are digesting fast, which are digesting slow. When you're a beginner, when you're in the very beginning, don't worry about any of that. Don't worry about any of that. I know it can be tempting. I know you might be like, I should know this stuff. I'm going to need to know it eventually. I might as well start learning it now. Don't. You have time. I don't want you to get distracted by diving into the weeds of micro and macronutrients in foods and discovering how your body metabolizes different forms of energy. Don't worry about that. All we're looking for is just plain old calories. We're going to simplify this in the very beginning. It's just how many calories are you taking in? How many units of measure are you taking in? For many of you, you actually have no awareness to how much energy you take in. There's an exercise I do with clients. It's one of my favorites to do. I first did it to myself. It's a reality check. It's where you pick a restaurant you would normally eat at, just any restaurants. You typically go and have a decent amount of food, and you say, what would I typically order? Come on, you know what your standard order is. And you would just compute the calories. Just look it up in MyFitnessPal. And it is not unusual for a person to do this activity. And they go to a restaurant, and I'll ask them, how many calories do you think you would have at this place? And if they've never tracked calories, they often either they're like, I wouldn't even wager a guess. I have no idea. I have no concept of how many calories are in food. Or they're truly guessing. They'll either guess crazy high or crazy low. But it's very normal that a person will do this, and they'll see that they consumed far more calories than they thought. They thought they were taking in 1,500, 2,000 calories, and find out they're taking in 4,500 calories over the course of a meal. That's not unusual to see that. I would go to Five Guys and take in 2,500, 3,000 calories sometimes. But, easy 2,000 to 2,500 calories on a regular lunch to Five Guys. Unless when I'm not training real hard, by the way, that's how much I eat in an entire day now. I used to eat in one meal the amount of calories that I now eat in a day. And I might do that 2 or 3 times a day. And I might do that 7 days a week, 4 weeks in a row. I mean, is it any wonder I was gaining weight? I was just consuming a massive amount of calories. And I just didn't know. I just didn't know. And sometimes people will think that the calories they're taking in are fine because they're healthy. They're healthy calories. I don't need to worry about this. So right now, very beginning, don't worry about the healthiness. We're just going to look at the calories, and we need to determine your maintenance calories. Now, this right here, this is the part where I'm going to invite you to head on over to watch a video. So in the link to the podcast, I've put a link right at the top of the show notes. If you tap that link, it will take you to a website that shows you a video. It's just a YouTube video of me. You click play, and I'm going to walk you through on screen how to determine your maintenance calories. You go to a website, you type in some information. I'll explain there how you compute the information, and it will just give you your calorie target, right? Just to start with. It is an estimation of what your maintenance calories are based on a couple of variables, which is how much your age, your gender, your current weight, and some questions about movement. It's really simple and easy to do. And it is going to give you a ballpark of if you were to eat this many calories, you would not gain, nor would you lose weight if you generally did this over time. Some of you will be shocked to find out that number is like 3,000 calories. Some of you might think you'd have to eat 1,500 calories to not gain weight, and anything over that, you're just going to gain weight. So what the hell difference does it make? If I go over 15, so if I eat 2,000 calories, I might as well eat 3. I'm gaining weight either way. Might as well eat what I enjoy. You might find that actually at 2,500 calories, you will maintain your current body size. So to keep gaining weight, you actually have to eat more than that. To lose weight, you just have to eat any amount less than that. Like it's a much higher number than you think. Your fat, the fat on your body, this is crazy. The fat actually requires a certain amount of calories to be sustained. I didn't know that in the beginning. I didn't realize that my body fat, I actually had to eat a large amount of food just to maintain it, to keep it. So you determine your maintenance calories. That's step one. And then you pick a target. What calories am I going to eat at? Now, many people, they think, all right, what's the lowest I could get to? Or let me enter the information of my ideal body size and I'll eat those calories. Okay, you can do that. No one's going to stomp you if you do it, and you won't die. It'll be fine if you just suddenly drop your calories a shit ton. But I'm interested in you losing weight in a way that you don't quit. I want you to actually make it to the other end of the journey. And one of the critical keys to getting that done is making sure you don't burn yourself out, making sure you don't get yourself overwhelmed, making sure you don't do something so stinking miserable that you just think the reward's not worth the price. So let's just say, for example, your calorie maintenance target is 2,800 calories. Let's just say you are big enough that 2,800 calories would maintain your weight. You've looked at it in this calorie calculator and you've seen that. Now, if you look at your past, you know that you have been gaining weight. That means you are, when averaged out over several weeks at a time, you are consuming more than that. So in fact, just eating to maintenance would be you consuming less food than you have been. Some of you just eating maintenance is plenty to start with. You don't need to go any lower. But let's say you do. What I would advise you do is pick a target that is either at maintenance or just a smidge below it, 200 or 300 calories below it, right? Just do that for a week. Just 1 week. 1 week. That's it. Nice high target. You can always lower it later. But the reason why I'd want you to do that is first, I just want you to get used to the act of tracking. So let's talk about tracking for a second. We're talking about setting a target and having your calories, and you need to write this down like a scorecard somewhere. And one of the best places to do that is in an app. I like MyFitnessPal. A lot of people use an app called Lose It. Over time, there's various apps that show up. You pick whichever one you'd like. There's pros and cons to all of them. I like MyFitnessPal because I like the database. It has a lot of food loaded into it. I also like it because it's got multiple years of my history in it. And I like several of the features. I do pay for it. I still pay for it even now. I think it's of great value, and I'll keep paying for it. But you write down the calories as you eat. When you first get started in documenting your calorie intake, you're not going to be used to this. You're not going to be used to it at all. In fact, you will find that you often eat and just forget to write the calories down. It's not because you were trying to like deceive yourself. It's you literally just forgot. You're not used to doing it. So my advice, if you want to get into this and you want to make it a little bit easier, why don't we start easy and just track to maintenance or maybe just a smidge below it just for a week, just to get your sea legs about you, just to get used to the act of tracking. I don't even think you should tell anybody you're doing it. I think you just do it as you think. Don't tell your spouse. Don't tell your friends. Don't tell nobody. Just make it nothing. Can I tell you how I record the podcast? I do everything possible to not think about the podcast. Earlier before this one, I was just tidying up in the office. And what I do is I just get to doing something else until all tension and stress and worry about what I'm going to say or do in the podcast leaves. And then when it's gone, I just casually walk over, sit down, put on my headphones, turn on the camera, and just hit record and start talking. Because if I make a whole big thing of it, it becomes challenging. I realize, and so I've noticed in my weight loss, I do it very similarly. Whenever I'm going to track calories, I often will just take a week and just casually track. Track some, miss a meal, who cares? The whole point was just to get comfortable with it. I give myself a full week to get really good at tracking for a full day. I'm not trying to be good at tracking for a full week. That's ridiculous. I'm trying to get good at tracking for a whole day. I've been doing this for years, off and on. I don't track. I'm not tracking now. I haven't tracked in many months. But what's the rush? I'm not going to put all this pressure on me. So if you're wanting to get into this, here's what I want you to do. While you're listening to me right now, go to the App Store on your phone and download MyFitnessPal or lose it. Either one. They're both fine. Pros and cons to both. And unless you're broke, if you're broke or a college student and you really don't have much money, just use the free version. But if you're an adult with plenty of money, and let's be real, if you are the kind of person that would blow $40 on a meal out just because you thought it might taste good, just drop the money on the app and stop nickel and diming this. Just get yourself the proper tools. Get the app. Get all the features. You're going to be losing weight for a while. You're going to want the app. So just jump all in. It doesn't really matter. Just pick one. And so, all right, so let's recap. You've determined your calories, which go to that video in the show notes, and I will show you how to do it. Then you pick your target, either maintenance or just a couple hundred calories below. And then you need to set a movement goal. You see, when you first start tracking, it's calories in, but it's also calories out. We got to get the energy out of your body. We got to get this extra energy that's been stored within your skin, in your fat cells. We need to get it out. We get it out by moving. Many people, when they begin a journey, they think this is all about exercise. I was literally I have a maintenance group now in the guild that we meet every Friday for maintenance. So by the way, anybody listening, if you've lost all your weight and you need a maintenance support group, come to the guild. I have a program for you. But we were talking about this morning. One person's like, she just wanted to lose weight just to see if you could do it without exercise. So she stopped exercising, and she did. Many people have done that. Exercise isn't really important. Exercise is great. You need to do it. It's not important for weight loss. You need to exercise. I want you to exercise. There's lots of reasons for exercise. We're not going to get into it, but I don't want you to exercise for weight loss. Honestly, just going on walks is going to get you there. Just go on walks. Get yourself an Apple Watch. We're going to keep this really simple. Put a fitness tracker on, an Apple Watch or a Garmin. I don't like Fitbits because they're really inaccurate from what I've seen. A lot of people show me their data, and it is definitely wrong. But something that or go to Walmart or Target or 5 and below. You might even be able to find just little clip-on $10 pedometers. You can go onto Amazon and buy a pedometer. Just clip it to your belt. But wear a step tracker. This is the easiest way to do it. Don't go try to reinvent the wheel. Don't go trying to find some other way. Don't go trying to resist it just because it's something everybody else does. Don't sit there and say things like, oh, this is too hard or I don't have time, because we both know that's a bunch of bullshit. Just get yourself a step tracker. There you go. Step one for your weight loss journey. If you don't have a step tracker, you have 48 hours to secure yourself a step tracker. I'm giving you 2 days in case you got to order one online, right? You get a step tracker, you put it on, and then you just wear it for 2 or 3 days. Live your life like normal. Don't change anything. Just wear it for 2 or 3 days. And then look at your average step over those 3 days. Just how many steps did you take over those 3 days? And then beat it. Do more. Let's say over 3 days you took 4,500 steps. Perfect. Now over the next 3 days, take 5,000 steps. Okay. Now for the next Why don't you look at the average per day? And you're like, all right, I'm averaging between 1,300 and 1,700 steps a day. Perfect. Shoot for 2,000. Just get 2,000 steps a day for 2 or 3 days in a row. Perfect. Take a break. Now try it again. Go for 2,200 steps. Then go for 23. And then go for 24. Then go for 2,450. You just slowly up your steps, pushing and pushing and pushing. But this is going to take weeks and weeks and weeks. So when you're first getting started, pick a target and just go. If you don't know what your step count is, get a pedometer, set it, and just track yourself for a few days to get yourself a baseline and set a target slightly above that. And then work your way up. You should do this at the same time you're tracking the calories. Some of you I know you're thinking, I just don't want to get too overwhelmed, so I'm not going to track my steps and my calories at the same time. Yes, you are. You are perfectly fine at doing those two things. You can do them. They're fine, I promise. So get a pedometer and just track your steps and then track your calories. That's it. You don't got to worry about anything else. Don't do anything else. You don't need to start worrying about exercise. You don't need to start worrying about what's the perfect kinds of foods to eat. You don't need to worry about what time of day to eat. You don't need to worry about none of that. Just write down your calories. That's it. That's all you got to do. We're going to keep this really, really easy. Now, once you've gotten your first week out of the way, your first just sort of like, week of sea legs about you, now we move to step 4. Track accurately as you can for 2 straight weeks. You have a target, and now you just write down your calories for 2 straight weeks. Even if you're going to miss your target, you write down your calories. That's it. You just write down your calories for 2 weeks. You have a target to give you something to shoot for, but if you don't hit it, you don't worry about it. And then, at the end of 2 consistent, consecutive weeks, you get on the scale. If the scale went down and you're happy with the rate at the rate at which it went down, do what you did again. Just literally repeat. Do the exact same thing. You can push the envelope on movement if you'd like. So let's say you're working up your steps. You can keep increasing your steps. That's no problem. Don't touch your food, though. Just leave it where it's at. We're looking for the minimum effective dose. We want to change just enough to get the scale moving. And we've done that. Now, let's say at the end of 2 weeks, you get on the scale and it went down, but it didn't go down at a rate that you're happy with. First thing you do is just repeat it again. Do exactly what you did. Just do it again, but push on the movement. Unless you're already at 10,000 steps a day, keep increasing your steps. Once you've gotten to 10,000 steps a day on average for steps, we'll look at other things. But for now, you just keep increasing your steps. Get the steps up, keep your food on point, just like you've been doing. And then, 2 weeks later, get on the scale again. And you just dial it in. Now, let's say you get on the scale after 2 weeks and it didn't move at all. That means you're not in a deficit. You know what you do now? You might reduce the food some, and you still increase the movement some unless you're at 10,000 steps a day. All right? So you get on the scale, you don't go up, you don't go down. Over the course of 2 weeks, you're the exact same way. That means you have just eaten at maintenance. Awesome. For your level of movement, that was your maintenance calories. You just found that out. That's fantastic. Now you got to lower them, and you got to bring your movement up. You're still going to you're going to be bringing your movement up for a while. I don't want you to suddenly increase your movement because your body can't handle it. It's not in that good a shape to be able to handle doing it for a sustained period of time. I know you can go kick your body's ass for 2 weeks. That's fine. But you can't kick it for 24 weeks straight. It just won't hold up. You got to build up your base foundation of fitness. So you're going to gradually increase your movement week over week over week over week over week. And so step 5 is adjust and repeat. After the 2 weeks, you get on the scale and you look. If the numbers went up, you lower your food, increase your movement. If the numbers stayed the same, you didn't gain anything, you didn't lose anything, but you want to lose weight, you lower the food, increase the movement. If you got on the scale and it went down by any amount, you don't touch the food and you increase the movement. And if it went down exactly how you wanted it to, great. You leave the food where it's at and you leave the movement the same or increase it. And if you're not at 10,000 steps a day, the answer is you increase it. You'll notice that for the next while, you're going to be steadily increasing your movement. That's a big part of this. So let's recap the 5 steps here. Step number 1 is determine your maintenance calories. So you're just getting started. You don't know what to do. You go look up your maintenance calories and you go to the video that I have linked in the show notes where I've recorded a video to demonstrate to you how to determine your maintenance calories. Then you pick a target. You decide what the target is going to be, and then you set a movement goal. And if you're anything less than 10,000 steps a day, you are just going to set a step target that's slightly above your current baseline, and you're just going to keep increasing it till you get to your target. Then after you've done this for a week and you've just gotten your sea legs about you, you've gotten to where you can track your calories, you got your fat calorie tracking app set up, figured out your movement goal, you just track diligently for 2 straight weeks. And then you get on the scale. If it went down, you leave everything the same and you increase your movement. If it went down, but you wish it went down faster, you leave everything the same and you increase your movement. If the scale didn't go down, you reduce the food a little bit and you increase the movement. If the scale went up, you decrease the food more and you increase the movement. You'll notice on all these, you increase the movement until you're averaging about 10,000 steps a day, at which point the journey begins to change. These are your 5 steps. Now, there are many obstacles that are going to stand between you and getting these done. It is going to be tricky. It is going to be challenging. That is okay. All right. This is really simple to say here, but going and integrating it into your life, you're going to realize it's going to take some trial and error. It's going to be tricky. That's no problem. Don't worry. It'll be just fine. Now, if you're looking to get some extra help on this, you're like, I got this, Chris, but I really would rather do this with people. I would really rather have a coach. I would really have somebody tell me and hold my hand through this and make sure I'm doing it right. I want someone I can ask questions to. Starting on this coming Monday, which that's going to be the 11th, 13th, the 13th of January, I am beginning my calorie tracking on-ramp program in the Guild. I don't do standalone programs. I just do them in the Guild. You buy a Guild membership. You can come do the programs. And it's $70 a month. And you get access to all my programs, by the way. All of my programs for $70 a month. I have over 250 hours of weight loss program, all focused on all different angles, heavy focus on the mindset. But if you come, you can take part in my Monday group coaching program where I will be taking people from nothing. I literally know nothing. I'm wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, excited and ready to lose some weight, but I don't know what to do. I have no clue. Great. We're going to walk you through it. We're going to take you all the way down there from there to tracking calories, and I'll take you through all 5 of these steps and teach you how to get it done. We'll go into some greater detail. You'll be able to get encouragement partners to help you along as you do this, and you'll also have a community that you can encourage and associate with other people doing it. If you are interested in joining that program and you want to add calorie tracking and get some help with a community and a coach, head on over to theguildofchampions.com. That's theguildofchampions.com. I have a video there where I explain everything about the program. You can read all about it. And if you're in my free Facebook group, feel free to ask around. There's a lot of Guild members in there. They'll happily tell you what their experience is like. And we just had 50 people join the Guild. I can't wait to have a bunch of other new people. The doors are normally closed. Right now they're open. I'd love to have you come be a part of the community. Have a great week, champion. If you're looking to add calorie tracking, go get started. Start today. Start tonight. No reason to wait. Download MyFitnessPal. And if you're ready to do it, make sure to head over to that YouTube video. If you have time, you might consider doing that now. That link is in the show notes in the podcast. You'll find it down there. All right. Talk soon.